We are getting some breaking news in the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
There are some puzzling developments tonight in the ongoing search for Nancy Guthrie.
The original letters that came to TMZ and local TV stations in Tucson, there were 2 letters. They threatened to kill Nancy Guthrie. We had not heard that until now. We always knew that there was a consequence threatened if you don't pay by Thursday. Then by Monday, there's a second deadline, and the consequence is that the money goes up, I think, to $6 million.
The press conferences started happening in the interviews with Nanos. What were you thinking?
Shut your mouth. Stop talking.
63 days since Nancy Guthrie mysteriously vanished from her home in her pajamas without the crucial medication that she needs.
Bitcoin was invented.
Bitcoin. TMZ is saying that it's received a new note demanding 1 Bitcoin, which is about $68,000, in exchange for the name of the individual involved in Guthrie's disappearance.
The abduction of Nancy Guthrie did not happen in the middle of the night by accident. It did not happen because someone chose the wrong house, the wrong street, or the wrong woman. Every second of it, from the first signal to the last, was engineered. And the evidence to prove that was already running before investigators even knew where to look. On February 1st, 2026, at 1:44 a.m., a single phone call was made. 3 minutes. That was all it took. Federal analysts later traced that call, pinpoint accuracy, to a device sitting within the exact GPS range of Tomaso Cion's vehicle. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't a wrong number. This was a trigger. 3 minutes after that call ended, the house went dark. At 1:47 a.m., doorbell camera footage captured a masked figure approaching the Catalina Foothills property. No hesitation, no pause at the door. Deliberate, practiced movement straight to the security panel, straight to the lines that needed cutting. Every step was clean. Every action was professional. Federal investigators would later describe it as a clean, professional execution guided by someone on the inside. The figure knew the layout. The figure knew the system. The figure knew exactly how to shut it all down in seconds. But while the house went dark on camera, another device kept recording. Nancy Guthrie had a cardiac pacemaker implanted in her chest, a silent recorder, a terminal witness that no one thought to account for. At exactly 1:47 a.m., as the masked figure moved through the entrance, that device registered a sudden, violent spike in vital signs. Her biological timeline had begun. For the next 41 minutes, the pacemaker logged sustained extreme cardiac distress. Clinical, exact, permanent. The data cannot be argued. It cannot be twisted. It is a biological timeline that recorded what happened inside that home in real time, to the second. At 2:28 a.m., the signal flatlined. Not death, forced removal. Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home at 2:28 a.m., and her pacemaker logged the moment her body was moved beyond its last recorded position. 41 minutes of distress documented by the device inside her chest, and then silence. That flatline was not the end of the evidence. It was the beginning of it. The first layer of the 3-layer framework had been locked. Now, the question shifted from what happened to why. Tomaso Cion was not a stranger to the Guthrie family. He was embedded in the financial architecture of their world, a trusted figure positioned close enough to operate undetected. But in the weeks before February 1st, that proximity had become a liability. Not for Nancy, for him. To Mark, the digital thread had been planted into the immutable ledger, and now investigators had a live trail attached to every cent in that address. Tomaso Cion moved the money. He shifted it through multiple wallets, layering the movement the way financial criminals always do, trying to dilute the trail, trying to create distance between himself and the source. Advanced tracking software followed every step in real time. Every wallet, every transfer, every fragment of that $152 precision transaction was tracked as it moved through the blockchain. And then the trail ended exactly where federal investigators needed it to: a centralized exchange, a platform bound by identity verification laws, a platform that required a verified name, a verified face, and a verified identity to process any withdrawal. Tomaso Cion moved the funds to an cross-border protocols slowed the pace. The misdirection bought time, or was designed to. But digital evidence doesn't respect borders. The $152 transaction didn't care about the Sonora Desert narrative. The pacemaker data didn't care about anonymous tip letters. The blockchain trail didn't stop at a jurisdictional line. Every false lead Annie Guthrie helped seed into the investigation was neutralized not by counter-investigation, but by the evidence that was already running before she sent the first letter. On day 75, the federal case reached indictment stage. 3 layers, fully assembled. The physical layer, a 1:44 a.m. phone call traced to Tomaso Cion's GPS location. A masked figure on doorbell camera moving with professional precision, and a security system shut down by someone who knew every code by memory. The biological layer, a pacemaker, the silent recorder, the terminal witness, that logged 41 minutes of sustained cardiac distress beginning at exactly 1:47 a.m. and a flatline signal at 2:28 a.m. that marked the moment Nancy Guthrie was forced from her home. The digital layer, a 34-character Bitcoin wallet address, a $152 precision tracking transaction executed on February 11th, a blockchain trail that moved through multiple wallets and ended at a centralized exchange where Tomaso Cion's verified identity was permanently attached to every transfer he made. Physical, biological, digital. The 3-layer framework had been closed. Federal authorities are no longer searching, they are assembling. Every piece of evidence, the call at 1:44 a.m., the flat line at 2:28 a.m., the $152 transaction on February 11th, has been documented, verified, and entered into the case record. The pacemaker data is clinical and exact. The blockchain trail is permanent and irreversible. The digital thread that connected Tomaso Cion to the ransom wallet is woven into the immutable ledger, and nothing you do about it can be changed. Annie Guthrie spent 75 days in front of cameras building a story. Tomaso Cion spent years building a financial empire. Both of them built their operation on the assumption that certain things leave no record. They were wrong about all of it. The evidence multiplied. Nothing forgets. Bit. Tomaso Cion's verified identity was permanently attached to every transfer he made. Physical, biological, digital. The 3-layer framework had been closed. Federal authorities are no longer searching, they are assembling. Every piece of evidence, the call at 1:44 a.m., the flat line at 2:28 a.m., the $152 transaction on February 11th, has been documented, verified, and entered into the case record. The pacemaker data is clinical and exact. The blockchain trail is permanent and irreversible. The digital thread that connected Tomaso Cion to the ransom wallet is woven into the immutable ledger, and nothing you do about it can be changed. Annie Guthrie spent 75 days in front of cameras building a story. Tomaso Cion spent years building a financial empire. Both of them built their operation on the assumption that certain things leave no record. They were wrong about all of it. The evidence multiplied. Nothing forgets. Bit. Tomaso's collapsing empire had cracks that were starting to show. Investigators allege she was entangled in embezzlement and illicit loans worth millions, a scheme that had been running for years, hidden beneath layers of legitimate financial movement. Nancy Guthrie had begun uncovering fragments of the truth. Not the full picture, not yet, but enough. Enough to ask the questions that Tomaso could not afford to answer. Enough to reach federal authorities, the DOJ, if she put the pieces together. She had to be removed before she could. The abduction served two objectives. First, silence the only person with both the access and the integrity to expose the fraud. Second, extract a multi-million-dollar payout from the Guthrie family, while the chaos of a missing person investigation bought time. A calculated trade. One life for keeping their collapsing empire hidden. Then came the ransom note. Inside it, a 34-character Bitcoin wallet address. Tomaso Cion, and whoever designed this operation with him, believed that cryptocurrency made them untraceable. That was the miscalculation that ended everything. What they failed to understand